Hey Corepunkers, time to talk about talents and masteries. So when you hit level 5, you'll start getting your first talent. So if you press K on your keyboard, then this or something similar like this will come up on your screens. I already have picked some mage talents, some medic talents on my blast medic, but when you hit level 5, you're going to start with something looking something like this. So you will have a list and then you have to pick what you like. Now, one thing you have to remember is that there is no restriction to what you can pick regardless of what class you are. So you could be a blast medic and pick up warrior. You could be a tank and you can pick up medic if you want to. Now, the fact that you can pick it doesn't mean it's going to benefit your class, but you have the freedom to do that if you feel it's going to help your class and make your build. Now, I usually play tank, so a typical build will be to pick something like a tank, mage for mana management, and then you have a lot of different choices such as support or assassin for critical or pathfinder if you play solo. Let's say in this case we're gonna go with warrior for a little bit more extra damage. And when you are level 5, right, so you can only pick this, you have all of them at level 20. So when you pick something at level 5, you first select the type of talent tree you want, and you read what every line does. In every line, you can pick just one of those talents. Okay, you can respec if you like. There are cubes in the game and very easy to do. They drop from boxes, killing mobs. You can trade them with players. They're not very hard to find, provided you don't want to respec every 5 seconds. When you hit level 10, you go to the next one. You do exactly the same thing. You read, you can only pick one talent from any tree you want, from any line, only one, right? I'm just picking random things here just to show you, like, so at the end you'll have something like this, and this will be half your build. And I'll say half because we also have weapon masteries. We'll talk about this in a minute. But two things I would like to point out here for new players. Number one, that sometimes some of the trees may have some things you like, but also will have some things that you don't like or that don't work with your class. For example, the hunter, which gives basically a lot of attack speed, usually for rangers, sometimes even for shamans. The thing is, some of the talents is that here you can use them if you, for example, a warmonger, because you get a speed buff here, but let me just find the one I was looking for. Oh, here. You get a movement increase once you use a dash ability. Now, you could possibly buy a dash ability with your D or your F, but generally speaking, you don't have dash abilities. So this tree may not be 100% for you, although you can gain immunity when you are CC'd or after using a dash ability. When you have slow, then you get a speed buff. So that will be useful for you, but this two will be useless for you. Some other trees may have the whole line, but this one, this two is with dash. As a tank, you may not get dash, you may get health, you may get shields, something like to make you tankier, survive longer, absorb more damage. So keep that in mind, and that is the first thing. The second thing that I would like you to pay a lot of attention if you're new to the game is that when you're reading the talents you can pick in every line, make sure you read them properly, maybe even twice. And I'll tell you why. One very common mistake that happens on the mage tree from a lot of people is this middle top line one, which says increases the player's mana regeneration by 5% for its ability that is on cooldown. At the first glance, it looks cool, and what you just read was I gain 5% mana regeneration, which is wrong, because in order for this ability to increase your mana regeneration by 5%, you must have mana regeneration, which means you need to find first an artifact, an item, something like that, which is going to give you regeneration in order for this talent to increase it further by 5%. A lot of people think that this says you gain 5% mana regeneration. No, it doesn't say gain, it doesn't say you get, it says increases it. So if it's 0 plus 5% equals 0. So be careful when you read things, how they work. Or for example, on the warrior, this is not usually mistaken, but as an example, you deal 1% more damage for its positive effect lasting more than a minute that is active, up to a maximum of 5. So if you have 5 active positive effects on you that last more than a minute, your damage will go up 1% for each, up to 5 of them. Now, if you have something like this one, which increases your armor and your magic resist, right, outside of combat, it is a positive effect. It pretty much lasts until you get hit and it gets removed, but this does not trigger that. Why? Because this is indefinite. It's more than a minute, but it's also infinite. Like, if you don't get hit, you always have it. The way this works is if you have a buff, for example, your armor buff, your regeneration buff, which is consumables from alchemy, and it says it lasts for 300 seconds, 600 seconds. Those are the ones that work with this. Or if you get a buff from another tree that lasts for a little bit, like if you crit, your damage is increased by 10% for 8 seconds, that doesn't work here. But if you get something that says you kill an enemy, then your damage goes up by 0.5% for 5 minutes, then that will trigger this. So read them carefully and understand them. Now, for the very, very new players who come into an MMORPG and of course they want to play solo, they want to do things, one thing that you might find useful at the beginning is to pick the Pathfinder path. And later on, when you learn the game a little bit better, you have more resources, you have more consumables with you, or you play in a party with a healer, you can easily respec and put something that you feel is more useful for your build. The reason why I always suggest Pathfinder for starting players is because you can get the middle from the first line, which basically out of combat, it will give you regeneration, extra regeneration, which is 0.5% of your maximum health. So the more health you have, the more you're going to regenerate. Also on the second line, the middle one again, every time you kill an enemy in combat, so you have like 2-3 mobs you're killing, kill the first one and the second one, every time you kill one, you're gonna get 3% of your maximum health and mana back. So it will keep you in the combat a lot longer. Now, the other two here are kind of irrelevant, so you can pick whatever you like. Personally, I pick the one that allows me to make campfires without using matches. Kind of comes handy, I suppose. But if you are going to venture into PvP areas, low-level PvP areas, you might want to get one of these, so you can increase your primary stats by 10%. It's also good for PvE, but usually I'm okay killing things, but this is another nice buff for 10 minutes. This will also work with the warrior, giving you 1%, so this is a good combo for later on if you don't respec as soon as you hit level 10. For PvP also, you can become immune to invisible people that can attack from behind. You don't take the damage. I always keep that one up. And on the last, it's pretty much your choice. So you can either increase the positive effects time duration by 1 minute, or make them stronger, or get vampirism. So the lower your life gets, you hit, you deal damage, you get damage back. However, this is not very good because if you are a tank, for example, and you do 100 damage, 3% is 3 HP, is not going to keep you up. So it's better if you increase anything that lasts more than a minute to be stronger, okay? Or this, if you think you're going to die, you're dying a lot, prevents lethal damage, brings you up with a little bit more so you don't die on that hit. And that's how you're going to make your build. I also would like to point out that you might notice there are 2 on the bottom, because this is the list in-game. The other one's a bit easier for me to show you for this tutorial. But if you look in-game, you also have crafter and looter. These 2 will be locked for you at this point now making the video. These are designed for future release for crafters, or people that like to go out and farm or to craft things, to give them better chances. As you can see here, percentage for gathering a loot drop, so you can get better blues or epics. So that is something we're going to see in the future. So if you see them locked, don't worry, they're not in the game yet. Now, I did mention earlier that by selecting the 3 trees as you go down every level and you pick the one that you like, that you want, it's going to be half your build. The other half is your weapon mastery, where you have a list of all your skills for your character, 1, 2, 3 skills, and down here the 4th one, which is usually your ultimate. This is your core mechanic here. Once you get to the end of this, you can pick one of these 2 depending on your classes, different specializations, and you have a total of 26 points. 26 points mean that you can get a full line plus one of the last, and then another line all the way to the plus there. that's 26. You don't get the last one. Of course, you can do a lot of combination. Like, you're definitely going to get usually a full line somewhere and the special, and then you can, of course, if you don't want to go up to here with something, you can go here and one there, or 2 and 2. You know, you can split it up any way you want depending on your class. I'm not going to tell you something about this because every class is different. So once maybe I have all the classes, we'll do some builds and then we can talk this in a bit more detail. Things to note: you will see there's some classes here that actually don't give you some sort of an ability like the big circles do. However, they do have a usage. If you hover over the skill, the last line of every skill tells you what the classes do, and of course every point basically you put in the line. In this case, on this skill, weapon specialization bonus is 0.2 seconds on blind duration. So every time you pick this or a plus or a plus or this and a plus plus, your blind duration is increased by 0.2 seconds. On this one, 1 second for clone lifespan. So everything does something, even the pluses. You may not get something super wow, but it gets that specialization going. And the core mechanic for the blast medic is that you reduce your mana cost by 1. So you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you can, if you get the whole thing, you get minus 13 mana for your skills. This one is like 18, it will go down to 5. So it's a big increase. So you play with this and you do what it is for your class. Now, for this to level up, and this is the important thing, you need to find some items called catalysts. Catalysts look like this. Okay, this is the low level one. It will increase your weapon specialization by 20. You will find 20, 100, 200, 500, 2,500 and 5,000 depending on the region, the level of the mob. And this drop by killing mobs, opening chests, breaking items, and I think that's it. So any box you see, break it. Any chest, open it. Just, you know, just destroy the universe in order to get a chance for those things. Open all the little boxes, you know, barrels, all these kind of things. So every time you right click them from your inventory, the points of XP go here. Once you level up, you can pick something else from the list. Yes, you can also respec this as well anytime you want. You have to find some cubes. They're easily to be found, of course. Killing mobs, breaking things, opening chests, all those nice little things happen. And just to show you how the cubes look like, this is the mastery. This is the mastery reset cube, and this is the talent. So you need to find these things. As you can see, my masters, I haven't really changed them. So between my characters, I have like 32 respecs, and here, which I do change as I'm trying things out, I got 13, and you know, it's easy to get. Just don't think it's caramels and just use them every 5 seconds. You know, when you're ready and you're sure, do a change. So that's all I wanted to talk about regarding the talents and the masteries. I hope this helps you guys get your head around how talents work, how masteries work, help you out to get there faster with a lot less stress and problems. That's it. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, put them underneath the video, or visit us, you know, here on YouTube and Twitch. Maybe we can answer some of your questions live. Whatever it is, I'll see you in the next video.